Oh my God, guys, that was wildly frustrating. It is what it is. Barcelona just lost 2-1 to Real Madrid in the Clasico. Not without disaster and drama and nonsense. A lot of terrible calls, I think, for Madrid, for Barcelona, one way or the other. It just pisses me off, man. I know I don't seem that angry because I try to tame myself down. I don't like to be that reactionary. Like, there's other guys online for that. But this is just really, really frustrating. A lot of good, a lot of poor decision making. Barcelona, though, were the worst off, ending up 2-1 down. And then, icing, cherry on top of Pedri's red card, really just putting the nail in the coffin there and giving us a real stab in the throat. Overall, though, I think we deserved to lose. At least tie. I think it was real frustrating. I think Barcelona are also in a worse spot. Again, not only is this home for Real Madrid, but Barcelona is without potentially their second best player last season, best player, you could argue whatever, in Rafinha. A lot of other injuries, not only their new signing, their only signing, while Real Madrid had brought in 3 players that were all two at least, that were very important to the win today, in Carreras and Huijsen. It's tough. Barcelona would have been lucky or fortunate, I think, to get anything from this match because of the situation they're in, with all their injuries, with the form not being the best with Lamine, with other guys, Ferran Torres coming right back from injury. Like, of course, Barcelona are not going to play the best today, and it looks like that right off the bat here, where it was kind of Madrid's game. They almost got a penalty in the second minute where Lamine slid in, and then Vinny kicked the crap out of his foot. But obviously, we've seen that call change now. When you get your foot in front of somebody else's, as long as you don't make contact with them, if they kick you trying to shoot, that's a foul by them because they kicked you. Vinny Jr. kicked Pedri or Lamine. Lamine, doesn't touch the ball, but that's okay. It's the same thing when you're like shielding the ball and it's going out of play, and then someone gets on your back and tries to get to the ball, and then they foul you and you go over. It's the same exact thing where Lamine gets in front of him fair and square. He doesn't kick him on his way there, and then that's obviously not a penalty. It's ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. And if anything happened, they would have complained and complained and complained, but then got the most lucky, I think, penalty call after that, where Eric Garcia's hand, it's bouncing between him and Jude, and Eric Garcia's hands, not up here, I mind you, right next to his leg, right? And it's because he's sliding, he's not intentionally moving it anywhere, and yet they get a penalty when the ball's going out of play anyway. Ball don't lie, though. Thankfully, Szczesny saved it, and I think he had an okay game today, not bad at all things considered. And then it was just real frustrating, really, really frustrating. Barcelona, whenever they got into really good areas, seemed to not make the best decisions, especially Fermin Lopez got in some dangerous spots. Lamine Yamal couldn't do anything, but a lot of it has to do with Lamine not being in his best form. Obviously, wasn't running like he could, wasn't pressing very much. Ferran Torres, obviously not in the best form, making some weird choices on the ball in something you wouldn't expect from someone who's been on form this season, or at least was before the injury. Everybody. It just wasn't connecting great. While Madrid had an easier go about it against Barcelona's high line. First of all, I was fuming with McManaman and the announcers on ESPN FC constantly complaining about that penalty, saying that the refs thought Lamine got the ball. No, that's not what he thought. He clearly got in front of the ball, and then McManaman was just being very problematic, I guess you could say, not being realistic, very reactionary, very anxious, anxiety, just negative, I guess you could say, the whole game, talking bad about La Liga refs and all that. And that's, I'm not disagreeing with him, but the way it was going, especially in the beginning, it just seemed like he was glazing Madrid, glazing Mbappe, especially for what were 2 offside goals, not counting because he was offside. That's his fault. And then and constantly talking yet again and yet again and yet again about how it's so easy to pick out this high line. Oh, then why didn't they do that and beat Barcelona every single time last year? Why did it work every single time last year? Because Barcelona, to be fair, had a better organized setup here. This season, one of the reasons Mbappe's second goal was onside was because Balde was so far deep. You wouldn't expect that to happen if they have a more cohesive high line. It was just really frustrating to hear the announcers keep reflecting on that, even though, yes, it is a good point. And also, very negative, the thing that really stood out to me is when Pedri pressed Arda Güler really well. Everyone was pressing. Arda had not a ton of choices there. It wasn't an obvious option for him to go out. His back was to the field of play, running toward his own goal. It's really tough to get rid of it there, especially when you got 4 Barcelona players in your way. Barcelona did a good job to win that back, but yet again, the announcers here are saying Arda Güler made a huge mistake. When Mbappe beats the high line, it's because Mbappe's the greatest player of all time, like they kept saying, glazing him like crazy in this match. All the while, right, when Barcelona do something well, and yes, make it very difficult for Arda, it's Arda's fault. It's just very frustrating, especially in a first half that goes that way. Obviously not ideal, not the way you want to go about it. I'm not saying Real Madrid didn't deserve to. I think they did. I think it was very frustrating. I think Barcelona created enough chances, right? They created some XG, even though I think they could have created a lot more. It's just that decision-making in the final third wasn't great. Again, a lot of injuries there. The substitute options for the front three was 17 or 18-year-old Tony Fernandez, 17-year-old Pedro Fernandez, and 19-year-old Rooney Barteci. Like, that was our attacking substitutions. That's why you saw Ronald Araujo playing striker, who I think had a spectacular game. But now that I've gotten all of that out of the way, gotten my main frustrations out, even though there are more to it, I could keep going on and on. Let's just do a little bit of a reflection on our reviews and everything as per usual. Here's the box score. Bellingham scored a tap in as per usual, and yes, I can complain about that and say that Kubarsi was elbowed. If I'm going to be honest though, in the way that game was that was going, Kubarsi was not getting on that ball anyway. Whether his head was slammed in by Huijsen's elbow or not, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's not going to affect the play. He and Frankie both rushed away from Jude Bellingham to press Huijsen, and Bellingham scored. I'm not going to complain about that. I know people will. That's not the biggest issue. Referee non-call that I saw today was later in the game when Carvajal rammed into Araujo for absolutely no reason, not making a play on the ball, blatantly going for his back. I don't understand. Not even looking at it, not even giving Soto Grado a chance to make a decision, right? Where he's given a chance to make a decision for Madrid every single time. And thankfully, the offside line takes that out of play, where it's not even an option for him to make a decision on a couple of Mbappe's goals. But frustrating non-call there, if I'm going to be honest. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they just didn't create great opportunities for everybody. And then when they did, they made the wrong decisions. Koundé's non-header. We're going to get into our reviews, though, because I could just keep going on. And I want to give you guys some content here. Szczesny, fair. Made the save on the pen, made a couple other saves, and did his job, didn't make any glaring, terrible mistakes. On the ball, wasn't the best, but again, I don't expect him to be. That save and the penalty deserves him a 6.5, even though he conceded 2. Considering they had 23 shots, 4 big chances, 3.6 XG according to FootMob, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the 6.5. I think that's very fair. That penalty save against Mbappe is nothing, especially when he gets so many chances to score pens this season, apparently. He's gotten a lot of practice out of it. Thankfully, Szczesny was there today. To keep it from getting too crazy and out of line here. Then moving to the back line, I think Balde was okay. I think he got into a lot of dangerous areas. I want to see a little bit more from him, a little bit more connection. I think it's a shame that we had to move Rashford over specifically when Carvajal came, because I think Fede Valverde was really good at preventing anything from happening by Balde or Rashford, because Fede is incredibly fast. Carvajal is not, and Vinny or whoever was playing on the right side, was it Camavinga, is just not going to be able to defend the same way as Fede Valverde was able to, and neither is Carvajal. It's a shame that we weren't able to get some fresh energy up on the left side that could combine with Balde, but I think Balde did have a solid game nonetheless. He was the one holding Mbappe on, though, for his this first goal, I guess. I don't really remember. So many things happened. It's all blurred together a little bit. But I think a 6.5 is fair. I like Balde. I want to see him do more, though. I want to see him get a little bit more confident on the ball. It was hard to find any space, though. I think a lot of guys were tired, and Madrid had some good shape today. I think Xabi Alonso put out the right side, but not the best work still. Our center backs, Eric Garcia with the handball, second game in a row, I think, with the handball, or, third, whatever. It was the game before that. I don't really remember. I think it was the Getafe match, whatever. I don't remember. Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm not going to hold that much against him for that, but nonetheless, I don't think he was defensively spectacular, nor was Kubarsi. I'm going to give them both a 5. I wasn't impressed by either one of them, and then Araujo came in and did impress me. Neither one of them seemed to be able to keep pace with the guys, which isn't that surprising considering, what we know about those two players. But Kubarsi's balls to the front line weren't getting there as well. And, that I think that's partially because Ferran Torres wasn't on his game. We didn't have guys like Rafinha who are have that great understanding with them where Rafinha and Lewandowski do. It didn't seem like Rashford and Ferran Torres did. With that, the ball from the center back to the striker that helps break up play, helps cut through the midfield lanes for Madrid. It's frustrating not to see, but not spectacular from either one of them. I think Koundé was better, but again, I'm so frustrated with that missed header. He took it to the chest. Great ball from, I think it was Lamine or Pedri who picked him out. I don't remember that well. It's really frustrating to see him not connect with his head there. That's something we've seen from him. We've seen that from Rafinha time and time again, especially against Real Madrid. Really frustrating that he didn't just one-time header, even if it went at Courtois, you feel like he's not going to catch it, just push it off, and maybe he parries it into the path of somebody else. Frustrating, guys. Really, really upsetting for someone to make a decision like that. I could say the same about some of Firmino's chances, but we'll get into that in a second. And Koundé didn't do the greatest against Vinny Jr. I think Vinny had a solid game, but then left in, just fuming, cursing out, it looked like everybody. I don't know. That's unprofessional from a guy who's, 27? Yeah, you don't expect that from him. Maybe he's 25. I don't know how old he is. Yeah, I don't know. I think he had a solid game. He looked pretty good, and it's disappointing for him to leave like that. I'm sure Madrid fans aren't too happy with that. I don't really care. It is what it is. Koundé did not play that well against him. I think a 5.5. I don't know. Didn't overlap that well either. Going to the midfield, I don't know. I was really, really wanting more from Pedri and Frankie's today. Obviously, the red card for Pedri was really frustrating, and I think Frankie had so much to do. Constantly, he was playing as like the number 10 second striker, as he did two matches ago a little bit. We also saw him doing the same, playing as a center back once Kouarsi and Eric Garcia went off, and Araujo was pushed to the top. He had a lot to do today. For that, I'll give him a 7, but you need more from these two guys. I want to see Frankie carrying the ball up more, making more confident passes, organizing everything a little bit better. And again, hard to see, but that's what I want. Pedri had to get that yellow card in the first half because they're dangerous on counterattacks. I'm not upset about that. I think Pedri deserved a yellow card before the one he ended up getting. So no matter what was going to happen, it's tough. He's gassed. He's been running the entire match. Has everybody running at him. You want a little bit more from him there, and he was really great running into spaces, making things happen, playing Lamine in, playing Fermin in, doing really, really dangerous things. A lot, just not enough. Creating a lot, really good. I think he was probably better than most other people on the pitch today. Not perfect, and it's frustrating. I'm going to give him an 8. And maybe an 8.5, probably the best player on the pitch, considering everything, the way their decision-making just wasn't the greatest, and the front 4-3, whatever, couldn't really create any space. I think that's pretty fair. Moving up to Fermin, bro. Oh, my God. I saw a couple of screenshots of his chance in the second half where he just blasts it right into the arms of Courtois. He did that a couple times, and the passes were on to both Rashford and Lamine Yamal, and God, man, you just want to see that. I understand him scoring 3 against Olympiacos and then scoring the first against Courtois here in the match today. But yeah, I want more from him there. It's really frustrating, really, really upsetting because of that, literally because of the decision making in the second half. And I felt like he wasn't affecting play for a while in the first half until he did get on the ball and score, obviously from an assist from Rashford. I'm only going to give him a 7.5. I think the decision making could have been better. I think the effect of the game could have been better. I think a lot of that has to do because it wasn't linking up that well with everybody, especially Ferran Torres was a non-factor today, basically. He was a minnow. Not El Tiburon, he was El Minnow. I don't know how to say minnow in Espanol, but that's all I got. 7.5 for Fermin. Rashford, I'm going to give him the same. I think he was good. I think he really struggled against Fede Valverde. He's one of the best midfielders or best players in the world, in my opinion. He is so good at so many different things and has an engine that has saved Madrid for years now and did, in my opinion, really, really shut down what could have happened on the right side. Even though I think Rashford was still really good, I think he could have been better. If it was just Carvajal that whole game, or Trent even, it could have been a lot more dangerous. But Rashford was still good, put in a good ball, made a good decision to not shoot in positions where he has shot earlier this season, and played Fermin wonderfully. Did really, really well in a lot of instances, but not necessarily what we needed here. Wasn't that X factor like you'd maybe hope he was after the last match. Ferran Torres wasn't good at all. Made some weird decisions on the ball, linked up okay, but again, got kicked out from Eder Militao and Huijsen and wasn't drawing any fouls, wasn't getting anything called in the way Lewandowski usually does. Not necessarily on him, but you want more from him. You want more from the guy who has been on form this season until that injury. Pretty frustrating. It is what it is nonetheless, though. And then leaves Lamine Yamal, who wasn't the king today, boys. And obviously wasn't the best. He wasn't taking as many guys on one-on-one. Seemed a little out of it and seemed a little bit like look, I think Vinny Jr., especially after they scored, especially after Madrid scored, did a good job double teaming him and giving him very little space. And because Vinny Jr. has so much pace, Barcelona were a little scared of it. Koundé was not overlapping. Lamine had no support, it looks like, for a lot. Even when he made runs centrally and bounced a couple balls off Ferran Torres, got into dangerous positions, had nobody to play, and he just does not have the pace, especially when he's not 100% to break away from guys like Hausen or Carreras. He just doesn't have it in him. And didn't today. I think Carreras got the best of him and looked pretty solid again today, as he did in most of his matches for Benfica last season against Barcelona. I think the subs were really good, especially Ronald Araujo. Boys, I thought he was spectacular. I defensively, I think he was great. I think he looks okay going forward. Obviously, ran to the byline trying to make a cross and then just put it out for a goal kick for Courtois. I think he overall was really, really good at striker, at center back. I kind of want him to start now. I'm not a fan of Eric Garcia. I just don't think he's a good enough defender. I never have really, but he's not linking that back line's chemistry is just not there. And if it's not going to be there, especially, not only do I want positional changes where if it's not going to work, you might as well have the better defender, even if he's going to make some bad decisions where Eric Garcia might not. Eric Garcia's conceded 2 penalties in 3 games, right? 4 handballs. Araujo is going to do the same thing, but he's going to intercept passes because he's faster, he's longer, and he's able to do that. He's a better defender, in my opinion, when he has to do natural defending. That being said, I think a lot of the other subs were pretty solid. I think Marc Casado was okay. Seemed to struggle on the ball, wasn't turning super well, wasn't collecting, spinning his man and running into space like you want. That's not necessarily him. He's not the fastest, not the biggest body, not the strongest. I'd still want to see him trying it a little bit, but was very safe. I think he was anxious. I think everybody was a little bit today. I think Bardghji was okay. Again, found it difficult to find any space, put a couple of crosses in there, but really couldn't affect play too much. And then Martin came in and again, didn't really do a ton. And honestly, I really think that in games like this where, God, Madrid can't score. They're not good against a lot of teams. Barcelona don't need this high line against them. And when Barcelona's press isn't doing spectacularly, which it wasn't for most of this game, yes, it won the ball against Arda Güler, but where you're leaving all the space in for Mbappe. And the problem is that, yes, he's getting called offside a lot, and it is working some. I don't know. There's not a clear answer because we only ended up conceding 2 against Real Madrid, against Mbappe with that high line. If we sit back, are we really going to concede less, right, with the way these guys defend and everything? And I don't know. I don't know if that's the right answer. We might concede less chances. And after conceding 3.6 XG, I don't know. You might want to pose a different question. But also, on the other hand, Barcelona are struggling to create so much when they get deep, right? They're having so much trouble getting pins at their box by even the most mediocre press, which I think Real Madrid's press isn't that spectacular. And when that happens, I don't know. You wonder if they have to play this high line because if they spend more time back there, they'll never get the ball forward, especially when Rashford's locked up by Fede Valverde, Ferran Torres is not working, and Lamine Yamal has no gas to go forward like he didn't today. All of our ball progression had to come from Frankie de Jong, Balde, and Pedri today, running between lines or getting lucky a little bit on balls getting deflected between Rashford and Balde, which I think that there was a lot of progress there. The relationship seems to be a lot better, and there's a lot of potential against a worse defense. Maybe that does better against someone where Fede Valverde is not there. Maybe it's Carvajal only, and you can get in some more space there. I think it goes a little bit differently. I don't think we deserve to win this game by any means. I don't even think we deserve to tie necessarily. Madrid played okay, not spectacularly. They're not a great team. They just have Mbappe up front and are able to kind of just boot it forward to him every single time. And one of those times he happened to be onside. And then I think they got fortunate on a cross where Bellingham got another tap in and a foul wasn't called. It is what it is, right? Move forward. It's not the worst loss in the world, mostly because I don't think it's that big of a surprise considering we're without any really talented or really proven forward substitutions when Madrid are able to bring on Rodrigo, Brahim Diaz, who both start for their national team. Franco Mastantuano could have come in. They have the midfield depth that they need, bringing in Dani Ceballos and then Carvajal at fullback spot, having Trent Alexander-Arnold's unused on the bench, and Gonzalo Garcia, a very high potential striker who can press like crazy. Barcelona just don't have that option. They got a bunch of children. And everybody else is injured. Dani Olmo out, right? Ferran Torres just came back. Rafinha, I don't even have to mention again. It's frustrating, but that's the reality of where Barcelona is right now. And I would have liked to come out of here, especially take not only getting the 1 point for us, but taking those 2 points away from Madrid. I don't really think we deserved it. I think it could have happened. I think some balls could have bounced a little bit differently. I think against, I don't know, the La Liga refs are so weird where I'm surprised you call that penalty against that soft handball where the ball is getting deflected between players. Usually you don't call that when they're too tight like that and it's deflections, right? Usually you don't call a handball like that, especially when it's not out here or it wasn't on purpose. And then to call that and look at it and then not even look at the clear running over of Araujo. And I'm not even saying it's a pen, but not even looking at it, it's frustrating. Where you look at it when it affects a white team, it looks like, and not Barcelona. I'm just saying. I'm not even saying it's definitely a penalty, but giving them the opportunity to make a decision isn't even happening. And it's a foul. Anywhere else on the pitch, that's a foul. That's all I'm saying. Realistically, that is a foul. There's no play on the ball. His eyes and whole momentum is going right into the back of Araujo. It's a really stupid tackle, and he did that a couple times everywhere on the pitch, got away with it more or less. I don't know, boys. Frustrating game for all of us. I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm not really that surprised by this result. If I'm going to be honest, Barcelona haven't been playing well, went and didn't play well again today for the most of it. And yeah, it is what it is. This is not the most important part of the season. Yes, this is one of the more important games, but realistically, the way Madrid are playing, they're going to drop points because they've very nearly done it several times this season. It's going to happen. They lost 5-2 against Atleti. Now, that happened because Julian Alvarez is insanely good. And Fermin Lopez, if he finished his chances today, could have had a Julian Alvarez experience. The same way, right? It could have happened. But Barcelona didn't defend that well. Mbappe finished a chance, and I think they got a lucky tap in, as per usual. And it is what it is. Pedri got a red. That really sucks losing him for the next game, but at least he gets some rest. They're off for the week, though. I think they're playing Elche or something next week, who actually has been good so far. And hopefully they take this time. They rest a little bit. Hopefully then when they do go to the international break, guys aren't overplayed. Hopefully Pedri doesn't do too much. But it is what it is, boys. Fair play to Madrid. I think they probably deserve to win. Not the most upset I've been in a match, and I think it was probably fun for neutrals to watch nonetheless. But I'll see all you guys. Visca Barça still. Calma. Okay? Calma. Visca Barça. Visca Catalunya. Forza Barça. We're still there, boys. We're still up there and competing, even when this team is down bad, and I like to see that hunger from all the guys. I like to see that they're stepping up, defending themselves against these guys, and doing as much as they possibly can. Not getting run off the park, even though they're not as good right now. And I'm happy about that. But thank you guys for watching. Again, Visca Barça, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.